Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Harrow. I am a Sydney photographer and brand builder, and today I'm going to be breaking down the content strategy for one of Sydney's leading entertainment venues. If you are serious about your house music, you're into intimate exclusivity, this venue is for you. Tucked away at 2 Kellett Street, Potts Point, this hidden gem plays tribute to the iconic Phil Collins song, Sussudio. Bum, bum. Make no mistake, this is far from an 80s throwback, blending sleek elegance with a moody underground aesthetic. It's chic, it's intimate, it's effortlessly cool, and that's why it's a go-to destination in Sydney nightlife. The club's branding leans heavily on European club culture. It's dimly lit, it's drenched in neon, and it's intentionally mysterious. From the moment you step inside, it's all about the atmosphere, the music, and the people. Beyond the dance floor, Sussudio takes exclusivity to a whole new level. Yes, there's VIP tables and a backstage, but every club has that nowadays. That's nothing special. What is special is the secret bar hidden behind a secret wall that adds to the mystique of Sussudio. If the Sussudio dance floor is the main event, Bar Yoko is the after party, where only a select few people are invited to the kick-on. So what I love about Bar Yoko is that it gives people a multi-layered experience when they go to Sussudio. Say you're looking to switch up the vibe from the main dance floor. Traditionally, people would be deciding from leaving the Sussudio club and going somewhere else. But Sussudio presents the option, because it's multi-layered, where you can add another mission to your night and try and get into the secret bar downstairs, which means that Sussudio is able to have a bit more of a grip on their audience compared to traditional clubs. So the likelihood of a customer getting bored is significantly diminished because there's multiple options for them to engage with and an opportunity to go deeper into the brand ecosystem. One of my favorite parts about Sussudio, and I still don't know whether it's intentional or unintentional, is that your phone reception actually taps out when you go into the bar, meaning that everyone is naturally a bit more present and contributing to the overall vibe. No one's doom scrolling, no one's texting their ex. It's just a great time because people are really and truly in the moment. It's just pure, uninterrupted energy and a forced digital detox that means that people are really living in the moment, and it makes the experience that much better. Sussudio's whole spiel is to create an air of exclusivity, but still keeping it accessible to those who truly appreciate what it stands for. It's a club for the people, but for a certain type of people. In this way, it's not VIP in the traditional sense, but it's VIP in terms of culture. That's why you can see a wide range of people at Sussudio. You can see people in their young 20s, and you can see people well into their 50s. If they're about the vibe, they're more than welcome at the club. So in this way, anyone could get in, but that doesn't mean that everyone necessarily belongs. This fine line is what makes the Sussudio brand aspirational without it being completely unattainable. Sussudio attracts a crowd that is forward in fashion, music-driven, and effortlessly cool. These are people who care just as much about the energy in the room as much as who's in the room. It is not uncommon to see DJs, models, creatives, influencers, and other people of the social scene frequenting nights at Sussudio because they care more about a refined experience as opposed to just a typical night out at the pub. And just to reiterate about what I said before, it's not about age here. You might have people in your early 20s, you might have people in their 50s. It doesn't really matter here. If you're about the vibe, you are more than welcome at Sussudio. Nonetheless, Sussudio does attract a typically upper class market, being in the heart of the city and around the eastern suburbs. Typically, people who are a bit more affluent tend to come to the club, and as a consequence, drinks tend to be a little bit on the pricier side. So when I was brought in about 3 years ago to delve a content execution strategy for this brand, I had to really think about what do the ideal target clients want to see so we can boost more sales at the venue. So this goes without saying, and it's not uncommon for a nightclub to do this, but we're obviously going to place a major emphasis on the music and the DJs. So you'll often see high energy shots of DJs engaging with guests, having a good time with people around them, smiling and really getting amongst the vibe. What is more uncommon, and the specific strategy that I decided to implement when I got tasked with building the content strategy at Sussudio, was to create a photography strategy that was strictly about producing candid portraits. Now, at the time when I came in, a lot of nightlife venues typically opted for posed stage photos, where the agenda for this content was showcasing how many people arrived, whereas my intention with the content was to showcase what it truly felt like to experience the night. So when I'm taking photos, I'm looking for moments where people are truly lost in the experience, not people with their hands on their hips, smiling with their their mate. Like, I don't care about that. It doesn't sell the vibe of the night. And that's what people are ultimately seeking for when they're scrolling through on Instagram. They're trying to determine, okay, what does it feel like to be here? And do I resonate with what this brand stands for? So when I'm capturing photos, they are raw, they are emotive, and they're authentic. And most importantly, they tell the story of what it's like to attend the night at Sussudio. Furthering from this, we also implemented a black and white photography color scheme as well to create a really timeless essence to the photograph. So it almost gave it a bit of a vintage feel and a cinematic style. So when people see their photographs scrolling on Instagram, they can tell instantly that that was a picture from Sussudio. I'm going to spill the beans here, which not a lot of people know, but when I was developing this content execution strategy for Sussudio, I took a lot of inspiration from clubs in Europe because I believe that there is a major conception in Sydney that it is impossible to find a good night out in Sydney. I like to seek inspiration from European venues, and one club that I felt was very similar in terms of brand values and principles was a club called Parisian in Paris. And if you have a look at their Instagram feed, you can tell that I was heavily inspired by them when I was creating the content strategy for Sussudio. So number one, we established before that a lot of Sussudio's ideal target clients ended up being in this social creative type scene. We're talking your DJs, your models, your influencers, your creatives, photographers, etc. I believe that this is something that the Sussudio brand should continue to explore. I'm going to give you a couple of ways that they should do it. Number one, I think that Sussudio should be opening the bar midweek for networking events tailored to these groups. This would enable Sussudio to be able to boost revenue on nights they don't traditionally open. The good thing about these people is that they traditionally don't have work at 8 a.m. on a Thursday. So you could host an event on a Wednesday night and be able to bring in people from all these different groups to have a couple of chill bevs on a night that the club wouldn't traditionally be opened. This would be really effective in extending the club's presence beyond the weekend and enable them to really be associated as a hub for their ideal target clients, which would inevitably result in stronger brand loyalty for the Sussudio brand. Building on this idea for my second recommendation, I would be opening up Bar Yoko midweek to use as a creative hub for these people to explore midweek. What do I mean by this? I would love to see photographers host photo shoots in Bar Yoko. I would like to see models do modeling shoots in Bar Yoko. Considering that Sussudio is so well positioned to speak to these people, and considering that Sussudio has access in Bar Yoko to such a stylish and intimate setting, Sussudio could really own this niche and position itself as a space for creatives to enhance their personal brand. I really think Sussudio could own this niche. And the third thing that I would do at Sussudio is I would be leveraging concept-driven photo shoots to enhance the Sussudio brand. What do I mean by this? Well, I would love to see Sussudio put content out there that was curated beyond nightlife hours. Like, something that comes to mind is, you know, those photo shoots that like models do where they're standing on like a crossing and they have like a newspaper and it has like, meet me at Sussudio. You know, that sort of thing? That's what I see. I think things like that could go a really long way in just showing that Sussudio thinks outside the blocks, but is still pertaining to those brand values that people ultimately seek out when they're engaging with the Sussudio brand. My prediction for content strategy for venues in 2025 is that venues that can nail concept-driven photo shoots and content strategies are going to blow their competition out of the water. I'm also going to plug in some TikToks that came across my feed the other day, which I really love and I think Sussudio could also really nail. And they're premised upon this similar idea of capturing things that speak to the people that resonate with the brand beyond nightlife hours, so that you could show that you understand the people that come into your venue. I just really like these videos and I thought that they really would do a great job at Sussudio if you're able to create something similar. By implementing these strategies, I really believe that Sussudio could establish itself as the epicenter of Sydney nightlife by really listening to the people who engage with their brand and catering to their needs. Alright, that's enough from me today. If you like what I had to say in the video, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to catching you in the next one.